We've got we're recording. We're doing all this fun stuff here. All the tech. We got it all covered. Hello, everybody.
Oh, yes, you do.
How is everyone?
Hot.
I was telling Andrew in the green room, I've got like the Mondays. I'm feeling like it's like, I don't know, first day of August. Yeah. It's like,
I feel you.
it's the first day of August. Like, Gabe, you know how you always say, oh, I was ready to take it. I was ready to take a nap early. It's like, oh no, gotta like get it together here. Gotta give us some recs.
That's why I came in, Julie, to have you liven things up. So
let's get it going for the rest of Monday. We've got some good events this week, so I'll tell you about those as we're going on. So I think there's some great books that are coming out tomorrow, because sometimes the summer can be, there's a big blockbuster stuff that happens, but there's some good stuff out there tomorrow, I think. So can't wait to hear it. So Andrea, you're the first one in the room today. You're going to start us off.
Okay. I didn't come in hot this time.
I know you're
all shocked. So the first book I want to talk about, can you guys see that cover?
The Irish Assassins.
Yes, The Irish Assassin.
Ooh.
This is from Atlantic Monthly Press, a sister publication or publisher to Grove, excuse me, i.e. Grove Atlantic. And they specialize in a lot of nonfiction titles, and this one is excellent. It's by Julie Kavanaugh, and it's out tomorrow at $28 hardcover. And this is basically an atmospheric investigative narrative, into the cataclysmic 18.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
I know. 1882 Dublin assassination of the British administrator of Ireland on the eve of a goodwill arrangement and agreement between the British government and the Irish. And then what ensues from there is this thrilling global search for the killers and a reckoning of the consequences of this murder that has lasted to the modern times. And Kavanaugh is really, really amazing. A renowned journalist here, former New Yorker editor for the London office, and a Costa Biography Award finalist. So really knows her stuff, and her chops are excellent here. It's really riveting. It kind of reads like like a historical thriller set in the Victorian era. And the portraits of the people are just detailed and amazing. And I just think this is a brilliant work of nonfiction. And I can't see how this is not going to pique the interest of all of the folks who are, the Anglophiles and the folks who are into Irish history, especially. And once again, that's The Irish Assassins by Julie Kavanaugh, $28 hardcover, and that's out to tomorrow.
All right. Sounds like one of those good narrative nonfiction.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it kind of keeps you going, even though it's nonfiction, it still has that element to it.
Yeah, it definitely reads like a historical thriller. And it's well known. Those events, those murders that took place is well known, in Great Britain, but not as well known over here. So I think this is just a new slice of UK history that people are going to, get into. So
cool. Excellent. Okay, Shannon, what do you have for us?
May 6, 1882.
1882.
Yeah.
So for my first tea time back, it's been quite a while.
We missed you.
I've missed talking books with you guys so much, but I've been dying to talk about this book. So
wait, before we start with it though, you were on some pretty good trips though. I mean, let's get where Shannon was like, I saw some Eiffel Tower pictures. It's like you were up in
we need a whole run. We need a rundown on all the places. But that
on all the places. I did have a nice vacation. I will not lie, but I did miss talking books about.
Okay, so there we go.
So Damnation Spring, Ash Davidson. This is a debut novel. It's magnificent. It is coming out tomorrow. I know that there is some Warwick's love for this book. I see Julie nodding. So I know Adrian loved it. I know that you guys are going to have some signed book plate editions of this in the store tomorrow. But this is set in the I want to say 1977, in a small Pacific Northwest logging town. And it is centers on a family, a husband and a wife. The husband, Rich, he's like 4th generation logger. And his wife is kind of a midwife in the community. And he wants a different life from his son, and he, without his family's knowledge, plunks all of their life savings into a small pot of old growth redwoods, because this is going to be his ticket. And in the meantime, his wife, who has been plagued by miscarriages, and she's been noticing in the babies, things not right with the babies she's been delivering, and she becomes suspicious of the water there. And so it's this sprawling novel of environmentalism, of a small town, of a family, of a town that survives on an industry that, is provided for them all of this time, but is also their undoing. And she just does this amazing job of, no matter what you agree with or don't agree with, you feel like you know everyone so intimately, and you empathize with their positions and their beliefs, and you just feel immersed in the gorgeous country of the Redwoods. So I love it so much. I hope you take a chance. It's a gorgeous debut, and she's a brilliant writer. So there's Damnation Spring.
It's getting not only Warwick's love, but there's a lot of love around the indie community about that book, for sure.
Oh, and it's in the August Indie Next selection.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yep.
I've
Excellent.
been hearing about it all around my territory for months.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So good.
Yep. And before we forget, Rick Coben, who came to us with Hachette, would give us recommendations. He isn't able to make it today, and today would have been his last time with us. He is retiring from Hachette, and so we will hopefully have somebody else from there that'll maybe join us in the next few weeks to give us some Hachette titles. But we always loved having Rick on, and we miss you if you're watching this. So anyways, all right, Gabe, what do you have? Oh, no, wait, I think Tom goes next. Wait, let me look here real quick. Is it Tom? Yes, it's Tom. Tom goes next.
All right, Tom will go next. So I consider myself very lucky. I've always, for many reasons, but one of them is I've been wanting to read Megan Abbott for a really long time. Megan Abbott's been writing for a long time, but never published by Penguin. So when Putnam bought the next few books, I was like thrilled. So the new book is The Turnout, Megan Abbott's new book, on sale tomorrow. She's all things. She's a great thriller writer, but she's really more than that. She's a really great novelist. A lot of her books, the books that I'm most familiar with, having read about them, are they're books that take the reader into like the private spaces of women and girls. They always explore desire, ambition, power in those spaces. So Dare Me was set in the world of high school cheerleading. The new book, she takes you into the world of ballet. So it's a family-run business, a ballet school. 2 sisters run it. They've inherited it from their parents. And I guess I never knew exactly how competitive and brutal the world of ballet is for young girls. And
it's
she
brutal.
sets it I know. Well, I know it now from the book. It's the book is set in the run-up to the Nutcracker. So of course that's the quintessential performance that girls are competing for roles, of course, but then more than the girls, the parents are pushing the teachers to give their daughters the plum roles. So she brings out all of the anxiety, the pain. And so into this family business comes a stranger, a handyman, who sets in motion everything that follows. And the book I like to say it's a slow burn, but when it burns, it's just like a house. Everything's ablaze. And you feel like you know every inch of this ballet school, every smell, every dark corner, every obsession, every fantasy. And she weaves in the story of the Nutcracker just perfectly. So this is a brilliant novel, on sale tomorrow, as I said. People Magazine's Book of the Week this week. They say it's pulsing with suspense. Entertainment Weekly says, you know, what we already know, Abbott is a master of atmosphere. But then the New York Times, we've talked about Maggie Shipstead on Tea Time, because she had a new book out earlier this summer. She reviewed it for the New York Times, and she said Megan Abbott is a mood, and I totally get what she means. So it's a rave review there. So she's getting rave reviews everywhere, and I feel like this will be her big breakout book. She should be, she should be there with Dennis Lehane, writers like that. And I think the turnout will do the trick. So on sale tomorrow, Megan Abbott's the turnout.
Love it. Yeah. Those stage moms, those ballet stage moms are something else. It was wonderful for a while.
Speaking from experience.
My kids did a little bit of dancing back in the day. Can you imagine me backstage? Come on, that had to have been. You don't need to imagine.
I think you're in the book, Julie. So yeah, no, I feel like I've lived it.
Poor things, you know.
I love it. So we've got some comments coming in too, though, Tom. Beth Doherty, who's somebody who watches all the time, she read The Paper Palace over the weekend.
Oh, fantastic!
So, I know.
Oh, that's great.
Beth,
hopefully she read it and loved it.
I know.
Fingers
that
crossed.
ending. I loved the ending. No spoilers. No spoilers. And then Wendy's on here. Wendy's on here, Tom, loving your Rex, says, how can we not buy all of your books?
Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Please buy all of my books.
Exactly. Love it. All right, Gabe, what do you have for us?
I'm going to come in with something I like a lot. One of my favorite authors, Fred de Aguiar, who is a poet, lovely novelist, beautiful novelist. And this is a completely different book. This is a book that Fred wrote at the onset of the pandemic, as he's just being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So what ensues is a really in-depth self-examination as one who is facing stage 4 cancer and added the dread of what's going on with the pandemic. So it's not only like you're all messed up, but the entire world is messed up. So there's no refuge. And he really just his attention to detail, the way his mind works. He's one of these brilliant thinkers and brilliant writers. His brilliance really comes out on the page. So what we have here is an examination of his life, his faith, his mortality, fatherhood. It is spiritual and very secularly spiritual, and just a beautiful memoir about facing, this really dark period in his own personal life, combined with the ennui of the entire world. And it is, I think, really something special. Everything he writes is brilliant, and he's never done memoir before. So I think this is going to appeal to a real serious reader. It's not necessarily a bummer of a book. There's a lot of up in this book. His attitude is very positive for the most part. And, the layers that he peels back, the spirituality, the fatherhood of it, being all these things to all these people in the world. Bradford Morrow gives us a great quote, calls it Augustinian in its clarity and honesty, which I thought is a really great line, which is why I chose this blurb here from Bradford Morrow, who's also one of my favorite brilliant writers. Always something interesting from Bradford. But here it is, good memoir. If you want something amazing to read, Fred de Aguiar is your dude.
Love it. Sounds like it's a powerful read. It's like something.
It's a powerful read.
Yeah,
all his reads are powerful reads. They're really just meaty, substantial novels that he writes. But like I said, he's got a real lyrical, beautiful style of writing as well.
Yeah, really good. Okay, Andrew, what's your next selection for us?
Trying to get there if I can find why can I never find where I am?
Clean up your desktop, man.
You have too many windows open.
Is.
I can imagine your windows across.
I mean,
That would be my problem.
I actually did like clean things off and I still can't find it. It's weird. No, I mean, I mean, it's here, but I can't find it. So, okay.
Do you want to? I wanted
to show. Well, I wanted to show you the pictures in this book. Another Redwood oriented book, but this is nonfiction, so this isn't a novel, but kind of some serendipity there, right, Shannon? So this is the Once and Future Forest. And this is from Heyday Press, California's iconic redwoods. So I'm sorry that I can't show you the screen. I don't know what's going on, but
when you find it later, you can tell us later. You can show us pictures afterwards. If
yeah, it's weird, and I apologize. But anyway, so this is out tomorrow, and it's $26, and it's 5 writers writing about the majesty and grandeur of these gorgeous California trees. It was originally published in celebration of Save the Redwood League's 100th anniversary, but this has now been published for a wider trade audience at a lower price. And there's these essays here in this book, you know, discuss a myriad of topics based around the redwood trees, covering the interesting science of redwoods and the ecosystems that they are at the heart of. And also covering the role of the trees in indigenous cultures and how important they were to many California Indian nations. From, you know, in the past and also to the present day. And I just think this book, I wish I could show you the pictures, but the book is gorgeous. And I think it's going to inspire people actually to want to help in the conservation of these gorgeous trees, because as we know, all bets are off right now with climate change in terms of
yeah, it could be, I mean, they're a spark away from being gone.
Yeah. So as you can see, there's some beautiful photos. So I hope that everybody can take a look at this book. I think it will continue to be a nice seller through the holidays for sure, for anybody who's interested in trees and nature. The Once and Future Forest, California's iconic redwoods. That's from Heyday Press, $26, and that is out tomorrow.
So Andrea, if you can find it on your screen when we come around for lightning round, if you want to show them before we get to lightning round, we can do that.
Okay. It's just weird because every time lately that I've tried to pull up stuff, I just can't find Edelweiss when I do it on Zoom. I don't know what's up.
All right. Okay. All right, Shannon, no worries. All right, Shannon, what do you have for us?
Okay, also, it's a big release week for us. So Stephen King has his new book, Billy Summers, coming out. And I will, full disclosure, we don't get advanced copies of Stephen King's new book. So I've only read a little bit that they've provided us, but what I've read is amazing. And it's already gotten 3-starred reviews. And I wanted to talk about it today because it's a little bit of a departure for him. It's like definitely noir styled thriller, but the premise is this: Billy Summers is an ex veteran who was a sniper in the war, and now he is a hitman assassin for hire, and he only takes out bad guys. But he has figured out how, like, he's going to do one last hit and then get out of the game, and he's planned it down to a T, even including his cover story on how he's going to get out. He's a writer. So there's like this story within a story aspect. And then of course his plan goes awry when he helps somebody out. But I'm just going to it's getting excellent reviews all over the place. And I love this PW starred review says, a tripwire taut thriller, King meticulously lays out the details of Billy's trade, his Houdini style escapes, and his act to look simpler than he is. but the novel's main strength is a story within a story. This is another outstanding outing from a writer who consistently delivers more than his readers expect. And he does. And like, I'm amazed at how prolific he is and how he just does not start churning out amazing work.
He is amazing because it's like, and that's the thing that I love. And it must keep him interested too, though, that he does different things, you know.
Yeah,
and that's
you don't know what to
keeps,
expect.
Right. And that's what probably keeps it interesting for him too, you know, is that it's not just the same thing that he's writing over and over
Yeah,
again.
he's definitely not a formulaic guy, which
yeah,
we all love.
no, love it. Love it. Okay, Tom, what do you have for us?
Okay, so my next book is The China Room by Sanjeev Sahoda. Can you see that? Yeah. So I hadn't read his last book. The last book was The Year of the Runaways. We didn't publish that, but that was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2015. So I came to him and this book completely fresh, and I completely flipped for this book. This is The Turnout and China Room are two of my very favorite books of the summer for sure. So the new book is inspired by his own family's history. It tells the story of two characters across a century. So Mehar is a 15-year-old bride in India in 1929, and she's married into a family of three brothers. She's veiled, not allowed to know her husband's identity. She doesn't know which of the three brothers she's really married to. But somehow, through the veil, through this kind of situation of bondage, she finds love. So then the other story is late 1999, 2000, and it's a young Sikh student in England who has been experiencing racism and the problems of England, his own addiction. He's putting his life back together, and he goes back to his family's abandoned home in India. And slowly but surely, you realize that Mehar is his great-grandmother. And so he's telling this large story of India and England through the trauma of these two characters. And that's, I don't read big sagas. I don't tend to read big historical fiction sagas. I like my historical fiction like this, like tight and just completely mesmerizing, but no extra words here. Epic, intimate, both at the same time. And you'll never forget this character of Mehar, who is living in the China Room. So it was published a couple of weeks ago. So it's been out for a couple of weeks. And I started to get a little antsy, but I'm glad that I hadn't seen reviews. And then all of a sudden, this past week, it's now on the long list for this year's Booker Prize. So we'll see if it gets to the short list, but I think the attention will now follow. There's a Wall Street Journal review over the weekend where they call China Room. He says that China Room forges telling and skillful connections between the two very different eras, showing that the ways that a place can store up pieces of a remarkable past and release them generations later when someone comes looking. And then in this week's New Yorker, James Wood, the famous critic, says that Sahoda is an enormously gifted writer, a bold storyteller who seems to have learned as many tricks from TV as from Tolstoy, and has a jeweler's unillusioned eye for the goods. So it's a great book that it will be a discovery. I mean, you're not hearing about it everywhere, but I think it's going to have a slow build. I love it. So China Room, Sanjeev Sahoda.
I know we say this a lot and it gets kind of like a pat statement, but it does sound like it would be a great book club book because
for sure.
of the little bits of history that are probably very condensed, but very, like you said, laser focused on stuff. So there is so much to talk about in terms of that time and this time, how they're connected, the family story, his own family story, which is very much a part of this. It's a novel, but it's very much, wrapped up in his own family's history. Yeah. And then the ending, it's why he nails the ending. I mean, I was literally on the edge of my seat, could not wait to see what would happen. It's great. Well, can't wait. Okay, Gabe, what do you have for us this time?
I got a book that I've been just waiting to talk about, and I've talked about it. I think I may have shared it earlier in the year when we talked about our annual seasonal highlights, perhaps. But it's After Parties by Anthony Viacina So. You can see by my slide here, named Best Book of the Summer by the Wall Street Journal, The Thrillist, Vogue, Lit Hub, Refinery, 29, The Daily Beast, BuzzFeed, Entertainment Weekly. Much anticipated novel. The review attention, the LA Times covered it this past week. The New York Times covered it. It has been getting just a ton of attention. Anthony sadly passed away December this year, 28, last year at the age of 28. He's a graduate of Stanford and Syracuse writing programs. And he's a guy who had what a future he had ahead of him. And it's really sad to see somebody who produces this great body of work that these stories are. And we're not going to be able to see the next chapter of the career that the literary world is really looking forward to. So we're going to just take this book and read the heck out of it. We've got it. It's a great looking small package, fits nicely in your hands. We have an amazing jacket. And it's a book about the Cambodian community, Cambodian Americans. What Anthony does in this book, I think, is the same thing that Robert Olin Butler, some of the same things that Robert Olin Butler did with A Good Scent from a Strange Mountain, which won the Pulitzer or the National Book Award 20 some years ago. And that book was all about the Vietnamese community in Louisiana parishes, where there was a big migration of Vietnamese, and still there, firmly entrenched there for the past 40 plus years, since 78-7, when we had the big move over from after the Vietnam War. And it's a similar situation here. We're looking at Cambodian Americans, and this kid's parents essentially their parents were the people who were caught up in the killing fields, the Khmer Rouge. So he's the byproduct of genocide, not the byproduct of genocide, but that's as the trauma trickles down through the generations, which is probably part of his problem, and part of his genius was all that influence of that. So some really powerful stories. Different than Robert Olin Butler a little bit. It's a different time. He really powerful, strong women in here. He's got really looking at examining under all the cracks of everybody's personalities and seeing what makes everybody tick. And it's just a really vibrant and immersive collection that you're going to get just from the very first story. You're just going to want to keep reading. I think another comp I've been using lately is the stories of Brees DJ Pancake. Here's another guy who died at like 20, committed suicide, 27, 28, after publishing a number of stories in places like the New Yorker. And he was up and running. And so his short story collection was published posthumously, but he focuses in on, he's from Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia area. And he writes about those people. He's got a very fancy Southern name, but what the people that he writes about are this microcosm of Americans that we never see much of. In his case, it's the coal miners of Virginia and the farmers of Virginia. In Anthony's case, it's the people who run your local donut shop, the people who are your next door neighbors, the people who are doing yard work for you, and the kids that are skateboarding past your house, second generation Americans who don't look like a lot of people. So we got some great quotes, some great blurbs. Dana Spiata gave us a great blurb. Her new book, Wayward, is one of the more interesting books out there. I recommend that to a lot of people. But she gave us a really great quote. And on having looked at Wayward, I much respect. She's really this brilliant book. I think her review will go a long way. But we're really anxious to see this get going. It goes on sale tomorrow. It's landing in bookstores today and Friday. And I know I've gone on and on, but I think this is just a talent that shouldn't be missed, and he will take you places that you didn't think you'd ever visit.
Amanda wants to say something.
I wanted to jump in. It's an incredible short story collection, and it's quintessentially Californian too. It's fantastic. It was also an Indies Introduced pick, so I got to read this kind of early, and it was a clear favorite in a field of many short story collections that were submitted. It's incredible and also very funny. I mean, it talks a lot about trauma, both the Cambodian the massacres, and also the kinds that happen in America all the time. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, everything
Highly-
from like trauma to microaggressions to, as I said, is new Americans, and it's, second generation of new American. A lot of stuff
Yep.
comes up. A lot of stuff.
Great.
Comes up.
Yeah. Thanks, Amanda.
Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for I always love the booksellers endorsements too. They're always so good to have those too. Okay, lightning round. Did you find your slides, Andrea?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. So, well, let's talk about the lightning round first. So I wanted to talk about come for tea, scenes that we are at tea time with the reps.
I love it.
Favorite recipes for scones or scones, savories and sweets. And this is by Lorna Reeves, and it comes from a publisher called 83 Press, and they just do these entertainment, home and entertainment titles. That's all they focus on, with beautiful packages. And just showing you a few of, well, of course now nothing's going to open, but this is some of the interiors. Yeah. There's a section on how to, I know, it makes me hungry, right? But there's a section on how to throw a decent tea party. And then great ideas for presentations, and of course, tons of recipes and whatnot. And so I think that that's going to be a winner. And then that will, I think the sales are going to be brisk through the holidays as well for this book.
Yep.
Comfort Tea, $24.95 hardcover. And that's out tomorrow. And then just real quick, I just want to show you.
See, there we go.
Thanks for indulging me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great photography in here. Just showing a little bit about, what happens, like the ecosystem as well, not just the trees, which is cool. So
Very cool.
Yeah, so thanks for letting me talk about that book.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
The ones-
sometimes a visual, it's good to get a visual on some of these.
Yeah. And I usually try to have a mix of nonfiction and fiction, but it just didn't happen today. So it was all nonfiction for me.
Hey, it's all good. They're all good choices.
We got you covered on fiction.
I know.
Covered.
There's lots of selections on everybody. Okay, Shannon, what's your lightning round? I think I might know.
I know. Yay. All's well. Mona.
Oh,
So
We love
excited.
Mona.
I love Mona.
She's going to be at Warwick's virtually tomorrow.
With Mary
So
Carr.
excited. And was Mona on your list, Tom, before she came to us?
Yeah. Yep.
With Bunny, who
And I love both of her. I love her books. I never know what to expect from them, of course. So I can't wait to hear what she does here.
Well, I'll be brief, but she is just so funny and dark and smart. But here, this is about a woman named Miranda who has been in a car accident and is suffering debilitating pain, but nobody can diagnose her with anything. And she's caused a divorce. She's a professor she teaches theater at a community college. And the book starts off, and she's basically in like a pain pill induced haze. And her students, she becomes obsessed with putting on a production of All's Well That Ends Well by Shakespeare, and nobody wants to do it. And she knows that her assistant director is like trying to take her job, and her students literally like hold a coup and won't do the play. And it's just, she's so smart, and it's so dark, but you're laughing the entire time. There's this great Anne Bauer from the Washington Post quote on the cover: "Awad is a stone cold genius." And I have not read Bunny or her other book, but I am now going to go back because I'm a huge fan. And I know Julie's read it too.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's so everything you want from Mona. I mean, she just is. the thing that I always crack up about her, because she actually wrote a good portion of this in San Diego. She came to La Jolla and
right.
spent like at least a month, maybe even longer. And a lot of the book was written here. But she's just this beautiful, you know, very unassuming. And the stuff that she writes is like so out there. And it's this juxtaposition of what she is versus what she writes. It's fantastic. I mean, I love it. But I love this book. It's so good. But you're right. It's like, it's dark. It's not quite as out there as Bunny. Bunny was out there. I mean, Bunny was.
Yeah. But dark is funny. All those characteristics.
Right. She's a genius. I love everything she writes. So love Mona. So come join us tomorrow. She'll be with Mary Carr at 4:00 here. So it'll be a great conversation. So, okay, Tom, what do you have?
All right. That's awesome. I love her. Can't wait to read that one. So this is a perfect lightning round pick because I've talked about it before. It's been a bestseller, but now it's coming in paperback.
Oh.
The Thursday Murder Club. So I talked about this last September when it came out during the real feel up. We really felt like we didn't know where we were headed. Maybe we still don't know where we're headed.
I was just going to say, do we know now?
Then especially. We didn't know which books would rise, which books would just disappear under, the smoke of the pandemic. But this was a book in hardcover we could not keep in stock. It became a phenomenon. He's a famous television host in the UK. So the book became one of the biggest. It set all these records in the UK. It became one of the best-selling crime novel in the last 20 years. One of the best-selling books of that same period. Sold over 1 million copies in the UK, which is a lot, especially in the UK. That's an incredible number. So now in paperback, coming out tomorrow in paper. It's just an absolute delight. There are these elderly people in this retirement home who every Thursday get together to solve cold cases, and until one day a dead body shows up and they have to solve not so much a cold case but a real case. And you'd think it would be like a little, like stodgy, fusty, something, but no, it's energetic and funny, and the characters are so smart, you fall in love with them. So if you haven't read it yet, buy it in paperback, because I'm going to be talking about it soon in September when we publish the new one. So this is a series, perfect for a series. And I think there's a hunger for this kind of delightful, smart mystery.
Yeah.
I never read Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley, but he gave us a quote for this, and I feel like if you remember that book, that's an audience for this book. Kate Atkinson calls it a little beacon of pleasure, which is totally right. So, and we needed it especially last September, but I guess we always need it. So the Thursday Murder Club, out in paper.
And talk about Warwick's love. I mean, there isn't a bookseller
That's
that
right.
has read that at the store that hasn't loved it. I mean, Adrian, James,
Absolutely,
Kim,
yeah.
Everybody is, yeah. So it's got a lot of endorsement from the store booksellers
and those same booksellers are already reading the new one and loving it.
Yeah, exactly. So a great, it's one of those, it's just it's a quick, fun, just lift your spirits kind of read.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Really good. Okay, Gabe, you gonna close us out?
Close us out hard. Taylor Moore, first novel, called Downrange, a Garrett Cole novel. Takes place in Texas. Our author is like a sixth generation Texan. He's a former CIA operative and did all sorts of defense and government work in DC and Afghanistan and other places. So he's one of those badass dudes who can also write. So think Jack Reacher, think that lone dude who's got military training and is called into situations that only he can get people out of. So in this case, he's abroad working on a mission. I think he's in Afghanistan, somebody's in the Middle East working on a mission, doing badass things. And then he is called home by his superiors for a small, 2-week intervention. And so he ends up going home and he finds that his place where he's grown up is now a swamp of drugs and crime bosses and all this stuff going on. So what else can an ex-Green Beret DEA agent who's got special set of skills gonna do but go on the attack, kick some ass, make everything right? We've got a Library Journal starred review. Philip Meyer, who wrote The Sun, which was a huge book about Texas, gives us a great blurb here. And, this is just, it's a visceral, page-turning, blowing things up, kicking butt, and getting to a good resolution for the town folks. So beginning of a new series, we'll see. Hopefully it sticks. We got a few books coming down the way, I'm pretty sure. So this kicks off. We got a good package. It looks like right away, CJ Box fans, you're going to like this a lot.
Yep.
People who like my boy Craig Johnson are going to like this a lot. He might be a little more
I was going to say maybe like a Jack Carr kind of a.
Yeah, he's a little more
on that military stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still has the ranger, like the wilderness
he
kind
grew
of
up
thing.
he grew up in the country. He grew up in that world. He's
Yeah.
a hunter and all that kind of stuff. So he's of the land.
Of the land. I
Yeah,
love
strong sense of place, like those other writers.
it. Right.
Sounds
Right.
like.
No, love it. And I mean, that's the thing. We had some great recommendations today. I think we covered like the gambit of like, there was something for everybody in today's recommendations.
Totally.
So I'm just going to close out really quickly with I doing my job as the director of events, talking about what are you holding up there, Gabe? Oh yeah, okay, hold on.
You can talk.
Wait, nobody's going to see it though because I'm on my screen share. So they're only going to see me and when I got up. So we'll let you put that one up in a second. So don't forget tomorrow. So just a couple things that are coming. Louise Penny and Anthony Dorr. So don't forget about those. This one, Louise will be with us.
Couple of little things.
Just a couple little authors.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things
You
we're
might be
doing here.
interested in.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No big deals. Louise will be with us virtually in August, and Anthony will be with us in person October 1st at USD. So get your tickets for both of those. But this week we have Mona tomorrow talking about All's Well. I cannot wait for that conversation. Timothy Shefford will be talking with us about the perfume theme, and he's going to be in conversation with Stephen Rowley. So that's going to be a hoot and a half.
Oh,
they both are
absolutely.
claiming that they're going to wear caftans, but we'll see. I think Timothy
So
said
they
he'd
probably
wear,
are.
Yeah, Timothy said he'd wear a caftan. I think Stephen said he'd put on some perfume. Anyways. And then Cynthia Barnett will be with us talking about the sound of the sea. So some great stuff coming this week too for you. So go ahead, Gabe, hold up your book again. Hold it up. It's Amanda's favorite too. There you go. After party. After party. All right, everybody. Some great recommendations. Happy reading, everybody who's watching. You've got some good things. I'm liking that you're loving what we're recommending. The Paper Palace, Beth. Love that book. I think was I right, Beth? It was a little spicy. So
you were right, Julie.
I kind of like that.
I'm sure Beth agrees.
Exactly. All right, everybody. So we're going to go off Facebook and turn off the recording. So see you next week.
Bye.